Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hut. And of course, please subscribe and like the video. We are here live from the hellhole known as New York City, coming back to you live, doing a live stream. And we do this every Sunday, I guess. And also, we'll be back tomorrow in the evening, probably later in the evening, with the Baseball Hut 2. You need to check it out. So let me get to the chat before we go any further. Some people coming in here and saying hello. Let's see. Garden State Gardner. Hi, how are you? Hello, Gio Flores. Jack in the Box. Well, we'll talk about Marte. Southern Cal Mets fan. He's from beautiful Southern California. And we're going to get into a bunch of stuff. And really, I have like an agenda. I go through my list of things I want to talk about. And not just the things that's going on with the Mets, and just a whole bunch of other things. Hello, Hansel. So what's going on? Hi, how are you? So what's going on, everybody? And ding, 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 ding. Thank you, Southern Cal Mets fan. I appreciate the super chat. It really helps out the channel out a lot. Hello, Mets Talk with Hayden. How you doing, Hayden? I haven't seen you in a while. So I do a lot of work here. Believe it or not, I try to do the best I can to make the videos a little more entertaining than you would see on all the other channels that are your favorite channels. and I don't mind going down the clickbait route to get people in here. I've had a lot of complaints since Thursday, but there've been more positives than negatives. Here's the thing about what I do with my show and with my videos is that if you want to be validated about your anger towards the team and how many years you've been a fan, you'll not get that here because I will not. I am not like. Um, I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a bartender. So if you come in here and start complaining about the Mets, I'm not gonna hear it. I don't want to hear it. We talk about the team. This is not life and death stuff. I got a complaint just a little while ago, which I thought it was very funny. Hello, Los Body Amigos de Fun. Hello from Panama City, Panama. People in the chat, tell me where you're from. We used to do this during last year, last off season. Tell me where you are. I am in Queens, New York. Just send that shout out and let me know where you're coming from. Southern Cal Mets fan says, I love the Huts clickbait. It's to get attention. You got to understand something about this show. I'm not on camera. And because I'm not on camera, my channel is at a disadvantage. Um, and because of that, I have to sort of take into account uh, what I need to do to make this channel pop. And I'm doing my best to do that. Do my personality, you know, my accent. I play that up a little bit. I want to tell you, I play that part of myself up. We got one Queens. We got Hansel born in Queens. He's in Queens. Hayden was born in Long Island. He's living in Florida. Southern Cal Mets fan says he's in San Diego. We got Gio, who's in Rochester. So I kind of play up the New York angle to a certain degree here because I know people, especially on the other side, they sort of have an idea of who I am, and that's really not who I am, to be honest with you. So I kind of play that angle up a little bit to a certain degree, to a great deal, actually. So I kind of have to sort of do the clickbait more than other channels because I understand that I'm not. First of all, I think that when you do these sort of just channel like every other channel that's out there, where you take a picture of yourself, I don't think any man should take a selfie of himself to where they look like a fool. Where they look like they're shocked, or they look like that they're surprised or some kind of or smile, or just some weird look. I think any man doing that is very, very strange. Very strange. Jack in the Box says he's in Long Island. Oh, great. Um, Now I have a lot of fans here, as you can see. I mean, a lot of people here today from New York, but I got fans from every place, everywhere in the country. I got fans in Canada, got fans all over over the Caribbean, and South America. You know, everywhere in the sort of United States, other than Alaska. I don't think I've had anybody from Alaska or Hawaii come here, but so I don't need. First of all, I don't feel comfortable on camera. I like to just sort of sit in my house and relax, just shoot the breeze with you, and not have to worry about how I look on camera. You're not gonna see me sitting with a denim jacket on, with Mets pair of Mets memorabilia that I just bought 10 minutes ago. You know, uh, so I'm not interested in being on camera. Hello, Matthew. How you doing? Matthew asks, out of all the possible free agents, who would you want on the Mets next season the most? Good question. Well, I want the Mets to get some offense onto this team. That is the thing they need the most. Is they need some offensive help in the worst way. And we're going to get into this. I got a whole bunch of different things I wanted to share with you, um, in terms of just what where the Mets should go. Um, the Mets have a big problem, and the problem is they can't hit. They need starting pitching. I guess we can kind of talk about Noah again a little bit, um, because quite frankly, Noah, uh, he disappoints me. He disappoints me. very disappointed in him because the way he made it out to seem, at the end of the season, that if the Mets give me a qualifying offer, I'll be honored if they did that. Well, they did that. They gave him what he wanted. Instead, he made it seem like they didn't schmooze me. They didn't like tell me how much they love me. Really? And then he's like, well, I didn't want to be here because I felt that the team, wasn't going in the right direction. He'd been here all these years. He knows what the deal is. And a very strange kind of reaction to him, quite frankly. And then he got into this spat with Francesa, which was funny on Twitter. Let me just see. Let me just take this down. Thank you again, Southern Cal Mets fan, for the chat. Let me just take this down. And then please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Here's from Geo. Let me put this up with Geo. I am kind of upset with Syndergaard, but I wish him the bestest of wishes. Well, absolutely. He's a good guy, but he sort of contradicted himself. He did take more money. So when you take more money, then you said, well, I didn't think the Mets were going in the right direction. Hey, Noah, the 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 Angels had the same record as the Mets do. I mean, really? I mean, what's up with that? But all right. Let's get started with the show a little bit. So I did a video on Max Scherzer, and I have felt that obviously with him, you're going to have to convince him to come here because obviously he wants to be on a team that's going to win. The Mets aren't there yet, but I kind of figured that the best comparison with him in terms of trying to convince him to come here is Pedro Martinez. When the Mets brought in Pedro, Omar had to convince him that they were going to spend money, they were going to do everything they needed to do to win. And they're going to have to do that with Scherzer if they were to bring him in here. The Mets are going to have to do something very dramatic to really. And even if they were to do that, when the media we'll talk about the media too a little bit more than I would normally. But he is a guy. He's 37 years old, like we all know. He probably has 2 really good years left in his arm. He's a Hall of Fame pitcher. Anywhere he goes, he wants to win right away. Now the Mets are in a situation right now. They need a lot of work everywhere. Now Max does not have a qualifying offer attached to him. He would be the kind. First of all, they have $18 million that they would have given Syndergaard that now is just sort of sitting there. Also, they did not sign Trevor Bauer last year, so that money is out there still. And I would point out again, I was the one YouTuber that said the Mets should not sign Trevor Bauer. I'm going to give you another person that they shouldn't sign, and that's Marcus Stroman. I think Marcus is he's too flaky for me, and he's just too angry. He just has too big of a chip on his shoulder that I think he would fight with the fans. We've seen him online on Twitter. He's constantly blocking people. Now, I do block people myself, but I'm not a player, and I shouldn't have to worry about people bothering me. But a player, he's just brush it off. But he's very, very a little too political for my taste, and too much of sort of makes himself out to be a victim. It's very difficult to put yourself out as a victim when you're making $18-19 million a year playing a game. And the Mets, and as you we're all with a very difficult economy. We don't need somebody telling us that we're racist, that we're terrible people. I certainly don't want to hear that from him or any player, quite frankly. And if he felt so strongly about the things that he felt, he'd be taking a knee. They would have been taking knees this past season, but they did not do that. But be that as it may, that's how I stand with Marcus Stroman. They should stay away from him. I'm sure all your favorite YouTubers are going to say the Mets should sign him. I would stay away from him. There is enough talent out there in terms of on the trade market and also on the free agent market that the Mets would be better off going in another direction. And one of those directions, obviously, is Max. He doesn't have a qualifying offer attached to him. The Mets are going to need to do a lot of work with the farm system. And obviously, they're going to have at least 2 picks, if not a third or fourth, depending on who they sign. Now they have 3 picks right now. The 11th for that was Kumar Rocker, the 13th, which is the pick they picked up from the Angels, and the 14th, which is their pick. Now, if they sign one of these players with a qualifying offer, they lose that. Potentially, the Mets have a chance to have 6 of the first 100 prospects in the draft next year. So they don't have to worry about that with Scherzer. But players that have qualifying offers, 3 in particular, I will point out to you, and we'll get into this article I have from where's this from? From I think I don't even know where the hell this is from. Where the hell is this from? From CBS Sports. That's Robbie Ray, the American League Cy Young Award winner. Hello, Captain Obvious. The former Nelson Cruz should just kept the same name as Nelson Cruz, man. On here, it gave you a little cachet, gave you a little made you seem special. Now you just Captain Obvious. That's just lame. A couple other players, 2 other players in particular. Carlos Correa, which you see in the thumbnail. I probably should do Southern Cal Mets fan. I should do like a clickbait video on Correa. That'd make everybody go nuts. And then the other player is Nick Castellanos. We're gonna go through some of these players, but let me go. I got from Geo. Geo says the Mets farm system was ranked number 22 by the MLB pipeline. I want them to try and avoid trades this offseason and go the route of free agency and build a farm. Well, they're going to have to do that. And that's something. Obviously, everybody realized the Mets are going to have to build this farm system up. If they do have a deep draft, it's really going to help. It's really going to help. So let me get to this article, and we'll just jump around a little bit in some of these players. I got some new information for you on the Yankees. Not that you care, but all right. Here's number 1. Carlos Correa. They're saying that Correa is going to go to the Yankees, according to this article. Well, according to some article that I read just a little while ago from the New York Post, the Yankees are not involved with any of the shortstops. That includes Correa, and that includes Corey Seager. Now, this thing with they say here that Corey Seager's going to the Cubs. The Rangers are going to be in play for these shortstops as well as the Tigers. Correa, in all likelihood, is probably going to go to the Tigers because his former manager is there. AJ Hinge is there, and it looks like the Tigers are coming out of the abyss. So that abyss, that dark hole in Detroit, is about ready to come out of the darkness. So they're about ready to come back from where they were. They actually have a couple interesting young players there. They brought in Barnhart from the Reds. So that's probably the most obvious place. Or the Rangers. The Rangers are very into these shortstops. I know they're interested in Simeon, and who's the other player? And Trevor Story as well. So, but I see Corey Seager probably, in all likelihood, probably going to the Yankees. That's what I see. Chris Bryant. Are we going to get tired of talking about him? Chris Bryant. Boy, oh boy. How many times are we going to talk about Chris Bryant? Well, we're going to talk about him again. According to this article, Bryant's defensive versatility makes him a fit for several teams. We're going with the Mets here because they could use another potent bat. They can use a bat. They can use a lot of bats. Plus, it would be cool to see Bryant play next to Francisco. That doesn't make any sense. And here's the thing about Bryant. I'm going to go through some players, but he's going to get a very similar deal to probably what George Springer got. I think they're probably on par with Bryant being a little more versatile, being able to play the outfield and play third. Mets need a third baseman that can sort of bounce around because of Vientos and Beatty. Can't even get his name right. I'll figure out his name. Beatty. So So they're saying the Mets. I'm saying the Mets too. I think the Mets going to get a few of these guys. Marcus Simeon. Now they say the Mariners, but the Rangers are very much into it. I can also see him going back. He'd probably be better off going back to the Blue Jays. I think the Mariners are going to be very involved with these free agents too. I think Michael Conforto is probably going to be going there, if not there, to the Phillies. Freddie Freeman. Now the Yankees seem to be very active with the first baseman. With the first baseman. Um, they're talking about re-signing Rizzo. They've talked about signing Freddie Freeman. Freddie wants a 6th year. I don't think he's going to get a 6th year from the Yankees because if they're not going to give a big contract to the big one of the big shortstops, and they need a shortstop badly, the Yankees really need a shortstop badly. And the fact that they cannot they're not killing themselves to talk to one of these guys is crazy. You know. And that's one of the big reasons why they've struggled the way they have. Hello, Luis. Well, I think with Freddie, it's more the years than it really is with the money. I don't think they'd have a problem with him in terms of just giving him the money. Robbie Ray, I see him either staying with the Blue Jays or anything goes. I can see him going to the Mets. That he might be the one guy that the Mets might go give up a qualifying offer to. Out of these 3 players that I mentioned earlier. Simeon, I don't think, because the Mets aren't interested in him, I don't think. Max Scherzer, they say the Giants. Well, I think with him, you have to convince him that the team's going to be good. Who knows how the Giants are going to be next year? Because with Buster Posey having retired, um, I don't know where the Giants are going to go. They're an older team. Uh, they were a team that was not expected to win. So they've been a bit of a surprise to a lot of people, including myself. Why the Giants would be at on this makes no sense. I see the Giants taking a major step back. I mean, when you win over 107 games and you lose probably your best player and probably the best player you've had on that team in the last 15 years, probably the best catcher they've ever had in the history of the franchise. And they're like I said, they're an older team. They got an old shortstop. They got an old first baseman, and they're gonna play Joey Bart at behind the plate. So I don't see him going there. I really don't see him going there. It'll be the Dodgers in all likelihood. But I mentioned the Mets because I think it's kind of fun to talk about the Mets because the Mets are all these players now. And like I said, it's very similar to how the Mets were when they brought in Pedro Martinez. So I think that they're in a kind of a similar position as they were 17 years ago. Kevin Gausman, who I don't think he has a qualifying offer too. Let me just check. No qualifying offer. No qualifying offer with him. I could see him going to the Angels. I don't think he'll stay with the Giants. I think the Giants will probably lose Johnny Cueto. Johnny Cueto is going to have a very interesting kind of market because he did pitch well this past season, but he is 40. He might be the next Bartolo Colon in terms of just of how people react to him. Marcus Stroman, number 9 on this list. I can see the Mariners. I've heard the Cubs. I've heard the Padres. The Mets should stay as far away from Marcus as they can. I think that would not be a good situation long term. Hello, Anthony Barker. Who will the New York Yankees sign this offseason? I don't think it looks like too many people. Maybe they'll re-sign Rizzo. But going into the offseason, people were saying the Yankees are going to do all this. But now I'm reading that they're not even going to talk to any of these shortstops. They need a shortstop. Hello, James. Who do you think we sign? A major impact for the Mets. Well, I already mentioned Chris Bryant. That's a big impact player. Starling Marte. Now he's got a very big market on him. What is it? The Mets, the Yankees, the Rangers, the Astros, the Marlins. Believe it or not, they say here the Tigers. I think I wrote this down. See, I write my notes down. So when I do the show, when I do my live streams, um, I have it down. The Phillies for Marte. So he probably has the biggest market because he can do stuff that most guys can't do. And I mentioned that he'll probably get 4 years, 4 years, 84 million. 4 years, eight. No, 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 no. What the hell am I saying? That's the wrong player. Sorry. Now, please like this video if you haven't already. Also, for Starling, I said 4 years, 85 million. So I was a little off by a couple million. Sue me. So yeah, Marte is going to have a big market for him. So obviously the Tigers are now mentioned here. The Tigers are going to be very big. They're going to be spending a lot of money, including the Rangers. So the Rangers, the Mariners, the Mets are going to be big. But it's surprising the Yankees haven't, you know, I the Yankees are being talked about not wanting to do that. All right, Trevor Story, the Rangers. I've also heard the Blue Jays too. I think that would be an obvious place. They need to play him at second. It's interesting what his market is because he had such a terrible season. Houston probably with him. What he'll get, I haven't really thought about it. Number 12, Chris Taylor. The Blue Jays, they say here. He's going to have a big market. The Red Sox, I've heard. The Mets should talk to him. The Yankees should talk to him. He's going to have a big market. Any player, anybody that doesn't get Chris Bryant will probably get him. He's a poor man's version of Chris Bryant, to be honest with you. Javier Baez, that's a new one, the Phillies. I think there's a good chance he could come back to the Mets. I think that the owner really likes him a lot. If he doesn't come back, I'd be even this. The Phillies are going to be involved because they're getting close to being a pain in the neck, even more so than now. The Phillies, the Cubs. I've heard the Yankees a little bit. Probably the Rangers wouldn't surprise me. Houston wouldn't surprise me. You know. Now with the Mets, he'd be the second baseman on this team. I'm sort of half and half on him coming back. To be honest with you, uh, Nick Castellanos. Now he had an opt out. He opted out. He's 30 years old. He's a little bit older than some of these other guys. Uh, he's at number 14. The Phillies. The Mets will be connected to him because the Mets obviously need a lot of offensive help. We'll see where he goes. Saya Suzuki, who's going to be posted tomorrow. Let me read you a little bit of him. Suzuki, a five-time All-Star in Nippon professional baseball, is a well-rounded player who should be highly sought after if and when he's posted by the Hiroshima Carp following the Japan series. Think late November. The Rangers, who have consistently dipped their toes into signing players from NPB, seem like an obvious fit. Interesting. Oh, here's a negative Nelly. Daichi says, probably signed. Mets gonna do nothing again. Again, I don't want at the time out. You know, we don't need the negativity. Negativity does not help. But I've heard with the Suzuki, which I've not seen, no one has seen. The Mets are going to be involved. The Mets have scouted him, and like I said, with Billy Epler now the new general manager, he has the background of signing Otani. That's a big deal. I mean, you bring that guy in here. That's the player for the last 20 years, 30 years. We've never seen him since Babe Ruth. Uh, I mean, we've not seen anybody like that since Babe Ruth. So when you do that, anything he does in terms of Japanese players says something. So keep an eye on him with the Mets. He's right-handed bat. He's considered a good defensive player. From what I've read, he's hit a lot of home runs in Japan. How that translates here, I couldn't tell you. I would have to. You'd have to ask or try to look for any kind of articles about Bobby Valentine. What he thinks about. I couldn't tell you. This is one of these players I don't have any clue what kind of player he is. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to sort of figure out those players. Clayton Kershaw, they're saying he's going to the Rangers. He doesn't have a qualifying offer attached to him. So, where he's going to go, who knows? Maybe Houston, maybe the Rain. Who knows? Who knows where he's going to go? Justin Verlander, well, he re-signed with the Astros. 2 years for 50 million. He hadn't pitched in 2 years. So there's a lot of money for the pitching. Noah Syndergaard. Thor went to the Angels for $21 million. And he basically told the Mets and he told us that, if you give me the qualifying offer, I'd be honored to take it. He didn't take it. What the hell's the matter with that guy? Very strange. Now we have Eduardo Rodriguez. He signed a 5-year deal with the Tigers for $77 million. So the Tigers are in on it. And this is a big hit that the Red Sox took. Kenley Jansen, they say he's going to stay with the Dodgers. That's probably all likelihood. Um, let's get to the chat again. Hello, Anthony. Anthony says, I know neither will sign with the Mets, but I would put the best offer on the table for Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw. How do you know, Anthony? Do you talk to these guys? They need 2 starting pitchers, maybe 3. They need Brian and Marte also. I don't think the Mets will be interested in Kershaw. I think he's pretty much close to the end. I think that they're pretty much close to the end. His career is about over. I think he might have 2 years left, if that. He can't stay healthy anymore. He's won his World Series. He's a Hall of Famer. I don't see he doesn't have much left in the tank. He doesn't have much left, quite frankly. From Jesus, this coming week, something is going to happen. Mets will get Starlings and Javi, because he needs Baez, and a couple. Look, they got 10 days. The teams have 10 days to sign players before there's going to be a work stoppage. Mets don't have a manager yet. So there's already a move, though, before. I will mention this. The Pirates. I know you're all interested in the Pirates. Jose Canada. They signed. They didn't. Haven't read any details on his contract that he signed with the Pirates. But I know you're all interested in what's going on in Pittsburgh. I know that's for sure. Let me see an update on my Twitter on side here. Yeah, it's a 1-year deal with the Pirates. The Brewers signed Pedro Severino. I know you're all interested in that. I think some of the lesser-known guys are probably going to sign pretty quick. Hut, do you think we will have a manager before Thanksgiving? No. Thanksgiving is Thursday, Southern Cal Mets fan. I don't think they will. I think they'll have a manager next week. I think within the next 10 to 15 days. Mr. Famous. That's a new name. There's a new person here. Says Mets got this. We're gonna open some eyes next year. We'll see. They had everybody's eyes open for about 100 days, and everybody closed their eyes when they started playing poorly. By the way, Ethan Ivy says Marte could do for Mets what Ozuna did for Braves without the drama. You mean Ozuna? The guy with the left fielder with the Braves. That guy hasn't played. He hurt his hand and then he got in trouble because he beat up his girlfriend or his wife or whatever. Who do you want to sign the most? Mr. Famous says. I don't know. They're all about equal to me. I mean, they need so much help everywhere that it really, it's everywhere. They need help everywhere. So that's how I kind of look at it. They need help every place. Everywhere on the field, they need help. Now, I got this best position. Yeah, Zuna is a jerk. Yeah, that guy's a jerk. He's got a lot of problems. He's beating up his girlfriend. He's a jerk. It's worse than that. Southern Cal Mets fan says he wants Max Scherzer the most. Okay, we'll see. But the Mets are going to have to do work because Max is not going to come here and be on a bad team, and he wants to win. So, and he didn't win in Los Angeles. Jesus says, what about the Mets trade for third base? No, the Mets should not be. The Mets should not be making any trades for any third baseman right now. You could sign Chris Bryant, not have to give up anything for him. You can play him at third and bounce him around. The Mets have third base prospects that they cannot not play them. The Mets have Brett Beatty and Mark Vientos. A couple of things on the Mets 40 man before I forget. The Mets added 4 players to the 40-man roster and don't get picked up on the Rule 5 draft. Is Ronnie Mauricio, Mark Vientos, starting pitcher Jose Buto, who started in Single A, and Adam Oler, who came from like out of nowhere, and he pitched, I guess, in Triple A last year. He's the Mets organizational pitcher of the year. And these guys were added to the 40-man roster, so the Mets can't really make a trade for a third baseman, quite frankly. And I know that the A's are going to be moving a lot of players and a lot of money. Stay away from Matt Chapman. I was looking at his numbers before. The guy hit 210 last year on a good team that won 86 games. He only drove in 70-something runs, had 202 strikeouts. 202 strikeouts. From Hi Stony 814. Hiya Hut. Let's get Baez, Nick C, and Marte. Let's go. Let's go where? Nowhere to go right now. Mr. Famous, pitching has to be at the top of the list. The Mets have a lot of problems. You know, it's on the same track. The Mets need a lot of offensive help. That has got to me, that's the number one thing they need to do. The Mets always have good pitching, but the Mets need offense badly. So that's got to be the number one thing they have to get. They need offensive help badly. Badly. Michael Blair, what pitchers would you like to see the Mets pick up? All right, let me go to some names here that I didn't mention before. All right, I mentioned Max Scherzer, Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray has a qualifying offer attached to him. Kevin Gausman. We'll go through some of the years now that I have it here. What they're going to get. Max Scherzer is going to want 3 years, I think. 2 to 3 years. And I think he has about 2 years left on his arm where he's going to be pitching at the level that we all know that he pitches at. Secondly, Robbie Ray, he's got a qualifying offer. He's the American League Cy Young Award winner for this year. He's going to want 6 years. What kind of money? I don't know. That I couldn't tell you. I'm not going to go through the money right now. I have to think about it. Gausman. Now, he doesn't have a qualifying offer. He's a little bit older. He's going to be looking for 4 to 5 years, I would think. John Gray could fill up the back end of any rotation. He's going to want 3 years. Mets Nick Borey says, sign Marcus Stroman, please. No, please take him somewhere else. I want no part of him. He's on. But in terms of just for many years, Hey, Jesus asked me, how many years do you think the Mets give Baez? 4 or 5. I think Baez is going to want 6 years, at least, if not more. I would give him 6 years. I'd be fine with that. I think anything more than that. I thought the Lindor contract was outrageous. It's a bad contract now. They didn't need to do that contract for him, and I was right about that too. Now, please like this video if you haven't already, and subscribe as we go along. Now, I mentioned, I know, hopefully you don't get mad at this. I mentioned Marcus Stroman. I did a clickbait video yesterday. I never realized that Steven Matz had so many people that didn't like him. I said the Mets are going to sign Steven Matz, bring him back for 4 years at $84 million. Steven's going to get 4 years, and he'll probably get close to $84 million. It's a little bit higher than the qualifying offer. That's what I kind of mentioned per year. But I didn't realize how much people don't like Steven. A lot of people unsubbed, I think, based off of the fact that I mentioned that the Mets would bring him back. I don't think he'll be back with the Mets. He'd be better off just staying in Toronto. I think that's the best spot for him. since he did so well last year, he's better off just staying there. And I think that they're very interested. I could see him staying there. I could see Robbie Ray staying there. And I think Steven should just stay there, quite frankly, and just resign with them. He'd be better off long term anyway, quite frankly. Um, where was I? Yeah, so those are some of the pitchers that I'm talking about. But really, Scherzer, Ray, but like I said, Ray, you're gonna have to give up a draft back. And Kevin Gausman is not a bad guy. You could probably slot him in third or fourth in rotation. Um, so that's something, you know. Oh yeah, the Max video. That Max video is doing unbelievable. I got like 6,000 views on that. That's gonna turn out to probably be my best video, probably on either channel. That might have an outside chance to get to 10,000 views. We'll see. It slowed down a little bit, but it picked up a lot of steam yesterday. But yeah, so and I'll mention some pitchers now that I think about it. Now I would mention Mets have to be very careful when they make any kind of trade with the Oakland A's because they always sort of get burned with the A's. The A's never lose badly on a trade. Uh, but I'll mention a couple pitchers here from the A's and a couple players from the A's, aside from Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman, the Mets should stay as far away from him as possible. He can't hit. But a guy that does hit, that can hit, that would really help the Mets is Mark Canha. Hope I'm saying his name right. Canha. He's one of the outfielders there. He's got 32 years old. He did pretty well this past season. Um, he'll probably want a 2-year deal. He'd be good as a third or fourth outfielder for any team. Interesting guy. But the pitching with the A's is probably the thing you want to bring in. Frankie Montas, Sean Manaea, and Chris Bassett. These three guys are probably going to get moved. The Mets should seriously think if there's a trade to be had, that might be one of the trades that they should look at. Hello, Jason Kimball. Angels got Thor. How do you feel about that? What other big names do you see Angels getting? Angels? It's not Angels Channel. Angels. Thor going there. He went there for the money. He doesn't want to say he got $3 million more. I wasn't too happy that he went. It was actually a surprise because I hadn't heard anything. And in fact, the night before that he signed with Anaheim or Los Angeles, or whatever the hell they call themselves these days, they said that the Mets are going to give Noah not only he was going to take the qualifying offer, but the Mets are going to offer him a second year as an extension. That they want to give him like an option year. Well, they didn't do that, so that's why I was so surprised that happened, that he signed there. He hasn't pitched in 2 years, and from what I heard, what I was reading, Major League Baseball was not too happy. The executives were not too happy that they signed him to that contract. It sets a bad precedent for a guy that hasn't pitched in 2 years. And give him that kind of money. The money was a little outrageous. If there was no qualifying offer, I don't think he would have. He wouldn't have got $21 million. He probably would have got maybe $10, $15 million. But he took the $3 extra million to leave the Mets to go out there. So he took the money and ran. To be honest with you. From Jesus, who do you think the Mets will hire as a manager? Aha. Well, we got some names here because of the fact that we have Billy Epplers now as the general manager. Brad Ausmus, who was the former manager of the Angels and also the former manager of the Tigers. He managed, I think, the Tigers for about 4 years. His first year, they won the division. So he's been a manager that's won. But a lot of those other years were not good, and they didn't play well, those teams. John Farrell's name has been mentioned because he was up for the job with the Angels back in 2019, 2020, whatever it was. Joe Espada, that name's been talked about. I wouldn't do that because he's got no experience. Buck Showalter is the big name, and he was up for the Angels job in 2020 before Joe Madden was hired by the owner. But Buck is the guy. That is the guy the Mets need because they had desperate need for some kind of leadership on the field. They have no leadership in that dugout. You know, Louis Rojas let him wave his arm and the Bronx. All he wants as third base coach up there. But to be honest with you, the Mets need leadership on that team in the worst way. So Buck is the guy. 2 years ago, when they hired Beltran, I remember I didn't have this channel, but I had felt that the Mets should have hired Joe Girardi based on the fact that he had a lot of experience. Mets need a guy who's got a lot of experience. Now Girardi is not going to light it up in terms. He's not going to do any kind of comedy routines at some nightclub, you know. But you knew he was going to do a good job in terms of on the field. That team in 2020 would not have had a bad record. Okay, same thing as for last year. They would not have collapsed the way they did in August and September, based on the idea that the Mets, had no leadership on the field, but at least they would have had some leadership in the dugout. They didn't have that. Jason says, thank you for the answer. Wish you guys best of luck next season. I hit the like button. Been subscribed since last year. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you, Jason. I've had a lot of unsubs in the last few days. So I see a lot of the regulars in here, and I thank you for all coming by. Another regular, Stephen J. That center field on Japan looks good. A new GM's experience in that area is going to cost a lot less and could be high reward. Again, I mentioned Suzuki before. I've never seen him. So it's very difficult. I mean, we were talking about other players from last year that had been talked about last year. And one of them bombed. The one in Pittsburgh that went to go play for the Pirates, he bombed. And Sagano, I don't know what's going on with Sagano. I don't know if he's going to be coming back out there and try to sign with some team. That's another guy. But I don't know anything about Suzuki. So if you were to bring him in, you got to be, who knows? I don't even know. I don't even know how to take that. I don't even know how to talk about it. But going back to Showalter is the guy. Because, one, he helped build the Yankees up in the 90s. He was able to basically, from the ground up, build the Diamondbacks. Can't forget about his work with the Diamondbacks. It was sort of a mixed bag with the Rangers. 2 good years, 2 bad years. He had A-Rod there. You got A-Rod there. He's going to be a pain in the ass. You know that. And he had all that money into A-Rod. It was just, but after that, they played really well. A lot of the infrastructure that he put in there helped him out a lot. And then he went to Baltimore. He had some really good years there, but the last 4 years completely, totally fell apart. Alberto Soto. I just subscribed to your cool channel, and thank you. Adele Chapman says, Hernandez thinks we should rebuild. Your thoughts on his comments? Who's Hernandez? Keith Hernandez? Where did Keith say that? But I didn't see Keith say that. Why would you rebuild? Why would Keith say you should rebuild when you had the best pitcher on the planet on your team? The Mets aren't rebuilding. Keith said that? Where did he say that? I don't think they'd be rebuilding. If you have money to spend, you spend it. You're basically telling Keith is basically saying not to spend money. So he can watch, so he can analyze more games with nobody in the ballpark. I don't think Keith said that. You said that 2 days ago. Okay. I think in this situation, I think you can do both. This farm system needs a lot of help. Okay. Now what are they going to do? They're going to they brought in a new general manager. They're going to trade DeGrom because that's what you're talking about. You're telling me that Keith wants to trade DeGrom. I never heard Keith say that. If I did hear about that, I would have heard about it. I didn't hear about it. Steve Perez. You see Stroman calling Keith a clown on Twitter because he posted a picture of that book about Fauci? I saw the picture that Keith posted. You know. But I think he's probably good friends with Robert Kennedy Jr. So he probably didn't. He probably wasn't thinking how people are crazy. All right. Keith said that. That's foolish because you can do. I mean, first of all, these qualifying offers to some of these players, they don't have qualifying offers to them. Oh, he did say that. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know, that's crazy. I mean, you basically you bring in a new. First of all, this past year was a disappointment for all of us with the new ownership. So ownership is going to come in here and they're going to tell the new general manager, all right, you're going to trade. Basically saying you're going to trade Degrom. So Adele, you're going to trade Jacob Degrom because that's what you're talking about. If you're talking about rebuilding, that means you're trading Degrom. I don't know if you could do that. I don't know if it is the year you're not going to get a full value for him. You know, people and the media will complain and say you're trading this generation's top receiver. The ownership doesn't want that, and they brought in this general manager so they wouldn't do that. I'm not even going through this thing with Degrom. Degrom's not going anywhere. That Keith is smart about a lot of stuff, and he might be right about it. But you're talking about a 3-4 year process. If you're talking about a rebuild, you're talking about 3 or 4 years. You got one of the best hitters in the game at first base. You're gonna waste 3 or 4 years. You're gonna do what you did to David Wright again. You're gonna do that to him. You're gonna have him on a team that doesn't win 100 games. You're gonna have him on a team for 3 years during his best seasons, wasted with nobody around him, just a bunch of kids. You can't do that. You can't do that. I'm sorry. I disagree with that. You can't do that. You're gonna do what you did to Pete that you did to David Wright. You trade Beltron. You don't replace Carlos Delgado at first. You have no help behind the plate once LaDuca was gone. The team fell apart. They got old, and you're gonna let Pete do that by himself? No, 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 no. I'm sorry, you can't do that. Not at this rate. I'm sorry. 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 I disagree. You can't do that. Not right now. You can't. You know. I mean, you're basically saying I'm not going to be good for the next 3 or 4 years, and I don't think this general manager has come in here saying that. I don't think that's happening. I'm not worried about championship right now. Okay, this team has to win some games. All right, you cannot break this team apart. You cannot have the couple of assets that you have Lindor. You promised Lindor you were going to be a good team. You think he's going to be happy they take DeGrom out of here and he's on a team that wins 65 games? That is crazy. That is crazy. Mr. Fame Most says if the Braves can win, we can. They win 88 games to win the division. They win the World Series. You don't need to win a lot of games to win the World Series. Get the postseason. The Mets had a chance to win this division. DeGrom got hurt. Once he got hurt, they were done. Quite frankly. Well, anyway, now I had my rant that I wasn't expecting to have. So I talked about the manager. Let me get back to this thing. I didn't even get to talk about it. Here's the top free agents at each position. Catcher, Yan Gomes. Now the Mets have a catcher. We're all going to have to live with McCann behind the plate for now. Quite frankly, unfortunately. So the Mets are going to have to deal with him because once Alvarez is ready, he's just keeping the seat warm. And not for nothing, the Mets have some very big prospects coming up in the next year or so. Now, the Mets don't have to win the division next year, but they have to show improvements in terms of the quality of the play. They showed improvements this past year with their defense. You saw it. We all saw it. They were a very good defensive team until the last month or so. So there is improvement there, but they need more. They did not hit, and they need offense badly. Uh, Ozzy asked me, "You think they're going to sign Javier Baez?" I think so. I think I think there's a very good chance of that happening. But he's going to have a very big market because he's not going to cost as much as some of these other guys are. Freddie Freeman, I think he's going to go back to the Braves. The Yankees are talking about. I don't know what the hell the Yankees are doing. Anthony Rizzo, I think he'll go back to the Yankees. Marcus Simeon, I mentioned him before. Where he's going to go, I couldn't tell you. But he's at the second base. Shortstop, we have Carlos Correa. Then you have a whole bunch of guys behind him: Baez, Corey Seager, Trevor Story. They mentioned I made that trade and then signed to sign Lindor that big contract. Chris Bryant, and a couple other names. Somebody mentioned in the chat Jonathan Villar. I would resign Jonathan, but he can't be the everyday third baseman. That's not going to work. Kyle Schwarber, I keep an eye. I'll keep an eye on him with the Mets. He's a wrecking ball in terms of, as an offensive player. We saw it. Let's see. Eddie Rosario, I'm sure he'll have an interesting market. Starling Marte, interesting market. We talked about him. Talking about Michael Conforto, I think the couple of teams to be in play: the Phillies, the Mariners, the Nationals, and maybe the Yankees. Doesn't seem like the Yankees are going to sign anybody. I don't know what the hell the Yankees are doing. This is freezing on me. Let's see. The whole thing's frozen on me. Max Scherzer, we talked about. I went through the pitching already. I don't need to talk about the pitching anymore. But Hob Abreu, how you doing, Hob? I've seen you in a while. What's going on? From Mets Knicks boy, nobody really wants to come here. Let's be honest. They should rebuild. That's so stupid. Nobody wants to come here. Come on. Baez is going to Boston to play with. We haven't heard Boston. But why would Baez go to shortstop? Why would Baez go and play with what's his name? That doesn't make any sense. He never played with Alex Cora. Uh, Stephen J. We need a young prospect with potential on the team. Can't wait for Alvarez or Beatty to come up. Beatty will be up there, up first. Yeah, Bogarts is a shortstop up in Boston. Well, the chat's a little like ornery tonight. Everybody wants to like tear the whole team down. Again, you can't tear this team down. You're bringing in a new general manager, a general manager that's done big moves in the past. This team needs pitching and offense, but you're talking about a 3 or 4 year process. A rebuild is not something right now. And the Mets have big prospects. They just don't have any prospect depth. But Beatty's probably the first to come. Probably Vientos is probably in front of Beatty. Because Vientos is probably Adele says, I have to admit, I was pissed about getting the GM so late. What are your thoughts about the timing about the hire? Well, in about 10 days, it's not going to matter. We're going to have a work stoppage. So it's not going to matter. That's not going to matter, quite frankly, Adele. Why? You want some time? I know. Are you on some time limit, Adele? It's got to be done at a certain time. You want a schedule? You know, it took a while for them to find somebody. I mentioned it. It's not easy living here in New York. They found a guy that had lived here, had worked here. That's a big deal, you know. They want somebody and he has a family too. So I don't, this. What a weird night. I wasn't expecting to talk about rebuilding the Mets. Like I said, you rebuild this team. First of all, you're basically telling Pete Alonso that the next few years he's going to have nobody in his lineup to support him. You're telling Francisco Lindor, who signed a 10-year contract, that he's going to be around a team that's bad. He doesn't play well when he gets booed. And you're going to have a team with nobody around him. That's crazy. John Velasquez, Brian and Correa on my wish list. Look, Brian, I think there's a good chance Brian's gonna be here. I think Baez and Brian are gonna have a very good chances of being here. I think Brian's gonna take a while to sign, depending on how long he'll be one of the last players to sign because his agent's gonna want to milk so much money out of teams. As you know, Boris is his agent. So if Boris is his agent, that means he's gonna want a lot of money, and he's gonna wait and wait and wait. I have a bad feeling um, that we're not going to have baseball probably until March. I think the what's going on with the commissioner's office in particular, less to do with the owners, but the commissioner's office. I think he is so incompetent that I think that he is going to drag it out. Uh, I've not mentioned this. They want to do something with the arbitration eligible players that they don't want to do based on purely numbers. They want to do stuff based off an algorithm. Now, we've seen things where algorithms can be manipulated. So the players basically rejected that right off the bat. But Adele says players are coming off the board. What players? The only big player that came off the board was Rodriguez. You need to relax. We're only in November. This is worse than last year. I would like to think that we would be in on those players. Who says they haven't been? Again, in 10 days, everything gets shut down. No player signings, no player trades, nothing. Without Chapman bringing all this negativity and craziness. But so this was an interesting show. So I will be back tomorrow in the baseball hut too. And people can ask, well, how's that different? It's not different. Same shit, different day. You know how it is. Same thing. But tomorrow will be a little bit different because tomorrow is business day. Let me see if there's any moves since on Twitter announced. Jose Quintana went to the sign with the Pirates. See if anything interesting coming up. Mr. Famous, good show, bro. Thank you, Randy Hernandez. What about the Mets signing Ray and Rodon? Definitely, we do need a bat, but I believe the rotations are bigger. Let me tell you something. They need offensive help. They need the offense should be the number one priority. Okay. The reason, do you want to see a team that doesn't score runs? I'm sick of that, watching that shit. I am sick of that shit, not scoring runs. And I've been a Met fan a long time. I want to see my team hit. Okay. John says, do you think a signing will be made before the shutdown? No, I don't. They need to get a manager in. Hopefully they get a manager before that. Southern Cal Mets fan, live stream on Baseball Hut 2 tomorrow. Yes. Hapa Brayu. Hope that's absolutely right. I want everyone to have a very lovely Thanksgiving. Look, Randy, the Mets need offensive help badly. They will last in everything, pretty much. They need help out with this offense. This team needs to score runs. Okay, this is a major problem. That is a major, major problem. They've got to get some guys in here that can hit and hit with men on base. Mets Knicks Bory, this is a different situation. The Red Sox had won. Okay. There was more there was a different situation. The Mets have not won in a long time. Normally I would not have a problem with a rebuild. But a rebuild is not right. It's not needed right now. I don't disagree with too much with that. Keith says Keith is very smart. He knows more baseball than I do. But in this situation, the Mets cannot break the team down. They cannot do that. But they have to be smart who they bring in here. They do have young talent on this team. Again, they don't want to waste the years of Pete Alonso. I'm telling you, you'll do the same thing to him that you did to David Wright. And when the team gets good again, you'll be screwed. And he'll be. What if he gets injured in year 4, and it's the beginning of them getting good again? You can't do that. You can't do that. And the Mets would be killed if they traded DeGrom. You can't do that. And he has to show he's healthy. Hello, Psycho Pat. Thank you. You're welcome. John Velasquez. Thanks, Hut. Randy Fernandez. Love your content, Hut. Ernie Del Leon wants to know Suzuki or Marte. Marte, we've not seen Suzuki, and neither have you. But I want to thank you all for coming by. I'll be back tomorrow in a live stream. Also, there are going to be some different things this week. Keep your eye out on Friday. On Friday, just keep an eye out either on this channel or on the Baseball Hut too. That's all I'll say. So you need to keep an eye on things. So we're gonna have we have a lot of fun here. There'll be clickbait videos. Now after December 1st, I don't know what we're gonna be talking about. I don't know what we're gonna be talking about after December 1st. But we're gonna be talking about labor, all kinds of labor strife and everything else. And we'll see what happens. But thank you all for coming by. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Thank you. Have a good night. And, of course, have a good Thanksgiving. And I'll see you later. See you next week, too. Be back next I'll be back. I'm not getting into the show. Be back next Sunday. So keep an eye out here on a live stream. That's definite. Thank you, and I'll see you later, and have a good night.